Kanish Gaur, at the India Future Foundation, the alert refers to state-sponsored attackers, and given the cast and crew on that list, Beijing and Islamabad are more likely to be interested in knowing what Amit Malviya is doing than interested in knowing what Priyanka Chaturvedi is doing. What do you, as a tech brain, think of what we've seen so far?
Thank you, Rahul. See, state-sponsored is a term. They're used specifically. We see these are called as advanced persistent threats. That does not necessarily
advanced what? Sorry, I missed you. What did you say?
Advanced persistent threats, APTs.
Okay.
Now, it means is that for having that level of machinery, they would require significant amount of capital and infrastructure, which could only come from the help of government. Either government is funding it directly.
No, why? It can be some big corporate. It can be a multi-billion-dollar corporate as well. Why does it need to just be the government? They got more money.
No, but the term has been used. Now, there could always be a third party, a contractor. We have heard about companies like NSO Group who do it for living. So directly attributing it to the government and saying that government of India has done this, I don't think so. That's right now. We should do a proper investigation. Priyanka Chaturvedi could call out independent investigation. That could be there.
No, but who does this investigative? Who does an independent investigation?
There could be another Supreme Court committee which could be set up and they could carry out an investigation. The second part is we don't have strong laws to go back and ask Apple all of these details. The attribution of such cyber attacks, you cannot go and ask Apple, please come and attribute. So you need to make the laws more stronger. So companies like Apple are held more liable and accountable in this country, which is missing. If the US government goes and asks Apple this information, Apple will be pressurized.
No, so Jiten Jain, will Apple, if and when the IT ministry and the government asks Apple, are they obliged to comply?
No. Under the IT Act, IT rules, in the breach notification, any company operating in India, if they had suffered a breach, they are duty bound to inform Indian CERT. Now, obviously, I don't expect Apple to give them the entire details of how a particular individual was compromised, but at a broad level, they are supposed to declare the extent of compromise, breach, and the indicators of compromise with Indian CERT. But Rahul, let's be very, very honest.
Jitin, let me conclude. Apple has a policy. Apple has a policy that they never attribute. They have clearly called out that they will never attribute a state actor.
No, I understand. That's what I'm saying. Apart, they need not name a country, but at least they can give an indicator of compromise so that people can be secure. So the second point I want to make, which Apart
has issued this notice to Apple under which provision of law?
No, the CERT can ask. Indian CERT can issue because they are supposed to report the breach. But the point I want to join, as Apar was pointing out,
that whether the government of India, previous notices have been issued by the same ministry to Meta when there was the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Nothing came out of it. And there have been notices which have been issued repeatedly. There are actually questionable legal powers. The ministry does not have these legal powers.
So, Apart, there's a 2 second of delay, so I think we are just overrunning each other. So I'll just start with 2 second of delay. See, the point is, even companies like Twitter, Facebook, Meta, they have never cooperated with the government, and that is why these new IT rules of significant social media intermediaries were brought in, that you should have 3 officers in India, you should comply with the government directives and guidelines, cooperate in investigations. So I think this is a work in progress. But as far as the point of whether government of India procures spywares or not, whether Pegasus is procured or not, let me tell you, no government in the world.
Why has the cabinet secretary? Why has the cabinet secretary?
Let me complete.
The National Security Council.
Let me complete. Apart any and every government in the world.
Okay, so
any and every government in the world will buy.
Okay, usually it's netas who are talking over each other. Now we've got tech experts talking over each other. The netas were quite civil during the discussion. Just 1 second, because everybody speaks at the same time, then nobody can understand what's happening. I want to go across to Priyanka Chaturvedi, who had a question for Jiten when he was speaking. Now the question clearly, okay, so even Adil Singh Boparai had his hand up, so he wants to come in and respond to what we are hearing from the tech experts. Adil.
Mr. Cover, let's not miss the woods for the trees here. This is hacking. Hacking is a criminal offense in this country.
No, but Apple hasn't said whether there was an attempted hacking or has hacking happened.
Please understand, an attempt to commit an offense is also an offense under the IPC. If there is an attempt to commit hacking, that is also an offense, which warrants an investigation. But the difficulty today with the BJP is that they're brazen to the hilt. That's the difficulty. They are brazen to the hilt, and they are the ones who are undertaking this repeatedly. I put this question to your viewers, directly to your viewers and to the citizens of this country. Who is likely to benefit by deriving information from opposition leaders? Who is likely to benefit politically and otherwise by gaining an information edge over their political adversary? The answer is simple. It is simple and very logical that the ruling political compensation.
Now, Priyanka Chaturvedi, when Jiten was speaking, you were trying to get a word in. 30 seconds.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Kanwar, Mr. Malviya's proclamation that there will be a fair investigation is bogus. And I'll tell you why. In the Pegasus scandal, none other than the apex court of this country said that the government is stonewalling an inquiry. So therefore, do not expect anything better. This is likely to get worse in the election. But let me assure something to Mr. Malviya. When we come to power, the chickens will come home to roost.
So you're counting chickens at this moment which haven't roosted, but we'll leave that for another day. That's not the point over here. But just on this point, Priyanka ji.
That's the point. A fair investigation is the point.
Okay, fair enough.
Justice is the point.
Okay, well, I don't want to get derailed by who will win the next election. That's not the point here. Priyanka Chaturvedi, between the time you got this email from Apple and now, what have you done? Has your phone been hacked? Do you know what precautions are you taking? How are you approaching this? Just more on an individual level.
So, on a lighter note, I would just say I'm greeting Amit Shah ji with every call I'm taking, so that he can also have, he can also see or hear whatever I'm saying, whether I'm fighting with my husband or I'm asking my children to go to college and be home on time. And just 30 seconds. So, I have made no changes to my phone. And if entertainment and snooping is what they're seeking, they will get it from me. But in 2024, I can assure you of one thing. Smartphones will be safe again. MTNL and BSNL
No, but on a more serious note, this is a very serious issue. You should know whether your phone has been hacked or not. I mean, there's several experts, some of them on the show, who can help you determine whether it's an attempted hacking or a hacking. That's a very serious concern. You should be working on it, Priyanka. Seriously.
Absolutely. But I refuse to live under the fear of being, snooped upon. And this is a fight I'm fighting committed to. I was born
She's
in a
basically saying, Amit bhai, that even if I get my phone cleaned, they'll find another way of getting back in. So what's the point? She's saying even if I get it cleaned, they'll again find a way of coming back in. So now, Mr. Malviya and his team may have some significant expertise in helping determine whether that phone is clean. I don't know if you'll trust him, but he could help you determine whether that phone is clean or not. Mr. Malviya, final word, sir.
I totally trust him.
But Rahul, on a very serious note, if the opposition believes that their phone has been hacked or they are being snooped on, they should go file a complaint, and since they do not trust the government or its agencies, they should probably approach the court and request for a court-monitored investigation, submit their phone this time, something they did not do at the time of Pegasus, and make sure that they are convinced that they are not as important as they would like to think, and the government of India has better things to do than to snoop on their phone. But if they want to use such, stray incidents to make a hula baloo things, well, you can continue to do so. People of this country have moved on. They have more important things to do. They are looking forward to what the future holds, and not to some petulant dynast rolling out every morning to hold a press conference or hold up the parliament on one pretext or the other, and nothing really comes out of it. And when it comes to it, they do not submit their phones for investigation. All I would say is that this country of ours, our democracy is far more robust.
Okay.
And that such flimsy arguments are not going to help you make any headway. So if you're really serious about your political careers and hope to ever cross over other than joining the BJP, you should perhaps work hard and focus on the more substantive issues.
You're inviting her into the BJP.
Rahul, can I have 30
One second, we just got some news there. He's inviting Priyanka to join the BJP.
I'm just suggesting that is the only way you could get relevant in your political careers.
Now, there are
things as they stand today.
There are international tech laboratories like Citizen Lab which claim, Jiten, that they can remotely take access of a phone and check, running various diagnostic tools, whether that phone has been hacked into or not. Is that something that's reliable? Obviously, she's not going to give the phone to government, right? If they are supposed to check whether their phone has been hacked into, it's a very serious question.
So Apple has also suggested a private NGO called Access Now. I mean, you could go to many other private NGOs, but all of them would ultimately want access to your phone. Rahul, on a very serious note, please understand, Apple as an operating system does not give anyone, including an anti-malware or antivirus, access to system files. It is very, very, very difficult to detect a malware on an Apple iPhone. You could detect it on an Android. So the detection on Apple is also very difficult. Two, whatever limited scale you could do is block those IP addresses or block those indicators of compromise. Now, leaving that responsibility to victims or the prospective victims is, I think, is not a fair job.
No, but how do you know Apple hasn't done it already? Apple may have done this
Apple
already.
has to inform all the users that whatever indicators of compromises we knew, we have already blocked them on iOS platforms. I think this is the job they are shying away from. I mean, saying that if we reveal that these threat actors might evade, I mean, what are you trying to say? They should continuing. I mean, you have to stop them. Where is the question of evading?
Okay. So you've heard from top tech experts, you've heard from somebody who alleges a phone has been hacked into, or at least an attempt was made, you've heard from the government and you've heard from the Congress. I think we've had a very illuminating discussion. We aren't certain yet of whether there was an attempt, who engineered that attempt, and what is the current status, but we've been able to understand different dimensions of the story.